The older I get, the more out of reach my dreams feel. For example, I've got this pretty decent voice and I enjoy entertaining others, but it is very hard to find anyone who will hire me to do what I like to do. But more than being able to support yourself with a job that you love, most people are finding it harder and harder to find a job that will pay the bills at all. See, most jobs are underpaid so that you will work a second job, maybe take on more hours, and then finally you will be able to support yourself in the system that we live in. But a few people have found ways to support themselves, and sometimes it's a little bit silly. For example, Candy Dixon, who was suffering from chronic incontinence, has found a way to support herself with her wet undies. I will be linking this story down below. So Candy Dixon was born with a chronic disease that made it so she would often wet herself, and all throughout high school this was a bit of an embarrassment. She would have to hide her underwear from her parents. She would often have to try to avoid other students to avoid getting bullied. In fact, according to this article, by the time she was willing to talk to her parents about this, she had had so many infections in her kidneys that one of them had to be removed, and she was given the diagnosis that she would be incontinent for life. She says, I thought my whole life I would live in a bubble where I would have to wear a nappy when I go out and be ashamed of them. I was bullied about it, but my wet knickers are now the reason for me and the family and my children to be independent and have financial stability. And that's the dream. That's what I want. I want financial stability. I am constantly throwing stuff on the internet, seeing if I can make anything stick and make anything work, but it's not. So I'm also going online and posting all these applications at all these different job boards, trying to get anything there to stick. And it's not. And maybe this whole time I should have been on OnlyFans showing all you guys my tubbalubs. That's all my fat. I'm talking about how fat I am. She talks about how while she was in high school, she would try to make her disease work. She would try to survive with, her chronic incontinence. She says, in school, I remember being nearly to the end of my class when I asked if I could go to the toilet because I couldn't hold it. And they said no. I ended up having a full-blown accident, which was noticeable to the whole of the class. It was extremely embarrassing, and I ran out. The teachers knew, but I didn't tell anyone, and it was kind of brushed off. I know that feeling. How often do you try so hard to express yourself and to express that something is wrong, and the people around you just kind of shrug it off and say, well, that's just the world we live in. Guess you gotta live with it too. So then one day she realized that some people are into incontinence and all of that stuff. I'm not, but if you are, no judgment here. It's just not my thing. I don't want to yuck your yum, but it's definitely not my yum. But she found enough of these people who were into it that she was able to sell her wet undies and now is able to support herself. And I've got to tell you, 3 years later, she's doing well and obviously getting profiled on the internet. But hers is kind of a unique experience. See, for most people, when their OnlyFans page is discovered, it usually gets them into trouble. For example, in September of this year, a Detroit cop was fired because of their OnlyFans page. Their own department found this OnlyFans page and decided it was a big deal. Chris Graveline, the director of the Detroit Police Department's professional standards section, and I'm sure that they are so good about their professional standards in that police department, just like they are so good about professional standards in every police department. Anyway, Graveline says one of our officers through her Instagram account had a paywall set up and was posting pornographic videos on the other side of the paywall. Ugh! It's 2022, people. How can you be shocked when someone has a side hustle? especially because we live in a society where you literally cannot survive unless you have found a really great job, and there aren't a lot of those, or you are willing to work multiple jobs to cover your bills, or you somehow find a way to support yourself online, even a little bit. I mean, that's what I'm trying to do, so make sure to hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and share with your friends. The police in that particular case continued that one of the bedrocks of the Detroit Police Department is you have to keep your private life unsullied as well. And I am sure that the Detroit Police Department is really good about weeding out all of their white supremacist cops. I am sure there has never been a KKK cop in the Detroit Police Department. This is a major point of emphasis to our officers, so when we see something like this, command moves very quickly. How dare you have a body? Anyway, I'm going to have this article also linked below if you want to check out more of it. Just remember, this was all the way back in September. This particular story is not news. It is to share a point that whenever anyone finds a way to support themselves, there's always going to be pushback. Like a husband and wife losing their jobs once the community finds out about their OnlyFans account. Now, admittedly, these teachers were fired because students found their OnlyFans account, and they did make a video in the classroom. So, you know, they kind of brought this particular firing upon themselves. I think that as interesting as it is that there are people who use OnlyFans as their side hustle, I will say there is a time and a place for everything. And maybe the classroom is not that place, but all of this may not be an issue if Senator Mike Lee has his way, where he wants to ban internet pornography in the US, and I am sure that would include OnlyFans. So whether you are an incontinent mother or a police officer with a fine body, or you're just some teachers who can't support themselves off of your combined salary, you may want to be paying attention to Mike Lee. He is going to try to limit your access to this resource, and I think everybody should have the opportunity to do the work that they want to do and to get paid for what they are worth, even if what they are worth is not what conservative society smiles upon. Really, the point that I'm making is that sex work is work. I know that a lot of people in the state that I live in tend to think that the body is evil and that having a body is evil and that you are full of sin because of the organs that you were built with. Even though you were created by their mindset, you're still bad for having the body you were made with. I don't fully understand the sanctimonious people who are against sex work. Live and let live. Let people do the things that give them money. That's all I really have to say. But what do I know? This is just some dumb news. Hey, I'm Sammy Davis. If you liked what you saw, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a comment, like the video, all that fun stuff. If you hated the video, make sure to send it to one of your enemies. And I'll be back next time with more dumb news.